before I'm going to dive into my paranormal experience, the topic today is fear. And I mean, I could talk about this forever. Fear is an evidence that something is not aligned within us. It's the feeling in your body and in your system and in your emotional state that's important. Hi, this is Ash from the closet. And as I say almost every time, if not every time, that this is a very urgent message, I will say that again. Yeah, because when I'm being inspired to do a podcast, and I sit here without a script, like I've said before, I do it from inspiration only. I always feel that it's kind of urgent, that it's needed to be heard, and that I need to talk about it, and that I need to use myself and always use a story from my life so I can be as authentic as possible. And it's always stories from my paranormal life, if you can say that, paranormal experiences. So I need to add that up to like what I want to talk about or what I have to talk about to make you understand that there is so much more than the eye can see. That's like a big thing in my inspiration to you, to open up your vision and to open up and become more alive. And I mean, it's an option, but it's a very good option, and become more alive as you become more awakened. And then you will know more exactly what you're going to do with your life, and you are not like a zombie just surviving life, but you will actually start to live your life deliberately with awareness and consciousness. And that's actually why we are here as human sapiens, incarnated spirits from a soul, a collective soul and a collective memory. The source, the light, God, whatever you want to call it. We are here to experience so we can grow spiritually and emotionally and personally. Yeah, that's interesting. So before I'm going to dive into my paranormal experience, the topic today is fear. And I mean, I could talk about this forever because there is a lot to be afraid of in our reality. There is a lot of things to have fear about, especially when you look what's going on in the world. But when that is said, you have to take it back to yourself and you have to find your inner peace somehow in order not to be too fearful or fearful at all, and then eventually become sick from it because the system will be in constant stress. Our body, our system, our nervous system will be in constant stress. That was hard to say. When we are in a survival mode. Who want to be in a constant sensation of being in stress? I don't want to. Sometimes, of course, we cannot help it because we are products of this reality, and we have to acknowledge that when we live in a duality like this world, this 3D, partly 4D, we actually live with a lot of shadow sides in order to know what's cold and hot and what's sour and what's sweet and etc. So this fear is like an enemy to a lot of people. We don't want to live with it, but we feel that we have a lot of fear for a lot of things because we want to live in harmony, but somehow we cannot live in harmony because we have something that's called fear within our system, and we kind of more or less, maybe you don't want to admit it, but we actually live in a state of survival a lot of the time. When we have this fear within us and we can kind of be aware about it and go out in meta and look in upon it instead of being it. So we kind of, let's go out in meta and look in and say, okay, regardless what I'm fearful of, what I'm afraid of, don't go there. It's not important. That's the feeling. It's the feeling in your body and in your system and in your emotional state that's important. Let's step out and look into the puzzle and look at the sensation fear, because it's not a natural state. If it's a natural state as a human being, it should be like stress in and stress out. If you can say that, like the lion is after you, there is something to be afraid of, but then you survived. And then you can go back to harmony again and start to focus on your alignment to the earth, to the universe, to yourself and nature, and to the connection of other beings. Go into the microcosmos instead of being out in the macro. Everything is the same within and without. So when we are out in metta and looking into the puzzle, fear is an evidence that something is not aligned within us. It's like, look at me, I'm a shadow side. You don't like me, but I'm here. You have to walk with me hand in hand so I don't overtake you and I don't go into a state where I kind of become that fearful person because fear has overtaken my life. That's not how it should be, and you are absolutely not aligned and in balance with yourself when you have fear as a companion and enemy. But we can look at it as a message, kind of need to change something within our lives. We need to change our belief systems, and we need to change our understanding of how it should be. Because we can be victimized, and we can stay victimized by ourselves. It's a choice. Most of the time, it's a choice where it's not done deliberately. Yeah, but we are still not victims from not being in control. So we have to step out of that role of being a victim, and we have to step into our power. That's our aim. That's our mission. That's the point of being human beings. Step into our power and know that we are all connected and know that we are part of a bigger picture, if you want to say that, a bigger puzzle. We are the soul living in spirits, in lifetimes to experience and to grow. That's the meaning of life. But we don't have to be victims. We don't have to suffer. We can actually have great lives. Yeah, I know war is going on. I know there's a lot going on in the world. But if we stay focused, we acknowledge it, we look at it, and we go, that's not a good thing. That's the darkness ruling. But as soon as we say that, we have to step into our own microcosmoses, our own traumas, and we have to step into ourself. Not just to be service to self, but in order to be service to others and to be a part of making the world a better world, we have to take care of ourselves first. Yeah, and that's not the ego in a bad way. We all have egos, but egos can be adjusted and egos can be expanded, so the egos are actually collaborating with other egos, and we are one big soul living lives on earth. We are all connected, and there's more to the world than the eye can see. Did I lose you here? Come on, listen to it again if I lost you, because this is so urgent. And the fear should not be ruling your world. And the fear should not be a part of your everyday life. We look at the world that's very dark outside very often, but then we have to turn our faces into consciousness and awareness and look at all the beauty and look at all the accomplishments we have done and look at all the great people we have in our lives and great things around us and great experiences, and stay tuned into the positiveness, not just as an understanding, but as a way of living. Be positive, live positive, be love, be the love you were born to be, you cannot learn to love yourself. You know that you cannot learn to love yourself. I repeat myself. You are already love. So when we live from that state, fear will just be an understanding of, something is not aligned within me, and I have to focus on myself and do good things for myself and meditate on my breathing. Not sit and meditate for hours. Breathe in, breathe out. Raise your vibration, connect to yourself, connect to your vagina, and connect to your energetic heart. And if that sounds like total nonsense to you, then you have to go back and listen to my previous episodes. After episode #10, that's where I talk about what I just mentioned. So I'm not going to repeat anything here, but that's the essentials of staying balanced, and that's something we should be aware of. So talking about fear, I want to dive into my story where I had every opportunity to be full of fear. As I was studying in a psychic school of mediumship, because I needed that in order to get kind of my emotions and my nervous system and my energetic systems in control of what I was actually becoming more and more, being a channeling medium, and everything was going a little bit ballistic and berserk around me, and I couldn't control the energies. I couldn't control what was going on. And not that I needed to control it, but I needed to understand it, because everything was expanding in me, and I felt and saw and heard and communicated with a lot of things I didn't really know how to deal with. So being in that psychic school of mediumship and being in some kind of a community with like-minded people, it really helped me. And being taught where to look for things to read and to sit in the power with myself. So my own people, my helpers, my energetic beings who are around me could come closer to me, and they could teach me all about it. So it was kind of just a platform to come back to myself and my helpers and my mission in life, so they could teach me. The afterlife, the other dimensions could teach me how to be a channeling medium and how to work with it and how to understand it. So one of the very, very first times, actually the very first time, I had to stand in front of an audience and give messages, and that's people, participants I had no idea who were. They just sat there looking at me, and it's my turn to go to the platform, to go to the stage, so to speak, and give a message. Like the previous episode where I didn't have anybody, as I stood up, that's what happened here as well. Maybe that's how I work. I didn't know it back then. But trusting spirit to come closer, I just had to stand up and learn to trust that they would be around me and they would help me and give messages to the bereaved people in front of me who needed a message from the afterlife. So I'm standing up. I have nobody around me. And the physical beings, the people who are around me, they are there, but no spirit people. So I just stand up and I'm like, I want to talk to you because now it's my turn, but here I am, and this is my very first time in front of an audience, and suddenly, suddenly I just became that man. I started to grow. This is an overshadowing. This is not somebody going into my system and take me over a possession. No, it's called an overshadowing. And the overshadowing of an energy going into my energetic field is how my mediumship is working. I become that person. I'm still me in front of the audience, but energetically I can feel I become that person, and that's how I can pass on messages and information to the people in front of me. And I start to say, I am this man, and I can feel I'm growing. And I pulled up my sleeves, actually, physically. And I said, oh, my muscles are so big now. And I got this beautiful tan skin. And I feel I'm growing. I didn't really grow in height, but I was growing physical outward. I became a man with muscles. And I looked at the skin and I was so proud. I got a sensation that I was so proud of the color of my skin. I was tanned. I have muscles and I am tanned. Oh my goodness, I'm so beautiful. And my hair, I just got the sensation that I needed to touch my dark hair. My hair is so beautiful. It's actually the same hair as Elvis Presley. And I felt this man, he was so proud of his hair. He had hair like Elvis Presley. Dark, shiny, beautiful, thick hair. He had a beautiful, strong body full of muscles. And then I have a feeling that I'm a father. I'm actually a father. I'm so proud. And then I got a feeling that I'm high up in the air. So I feel that I'm working like it's not in treetops, but it's on, where you have the electrical systems. I'm climbing up to a pole and I work with some sort of electricity and I'm up in the air and I'm like very clever in my line of work. I'm educated to be that person who knows how to fix those poles and work with the electricity somehow up in the air. And I have this uniform on, like a neon color uniform, orange color, and I can see men on the ground with the same colors of uniforms. And here I am, and this is kind of a job that I'm really good at. Then suddenly, I just see a lot of papers in front of me. Oh my goodness, a lot of papers, and I feel there is an accident somehow. It's like a work-related accident, and I feel that, oh my goodness, there's a lot of papers and there's a lot of going back and forth with the company and the union and nobody acknowledge what's going on. And I feel so weak suddenly. I feel that this is actually what kills me. I lose my manhood. I lose my power. I go ballistic and I go sad and I go into fear as a man because I don't have that power any longer. And eventually I get some kind of, I don't know what happens. My psychic is really bad and I get a feeling of just diminish. It's like I go from a strong young man to somebody who's very weak and it kills me. Then I look at the woman on the first row who sits together with her son, a boy who's like 12 to 14 years old, and they are part of the audience in front of me. And I look at her, look at the boy, and I just say, Father, Father, Father. I look at her and I said, this man, he belongs to you. He's the father of your son here. She starts to cry. And she says, yeah, everything is correct. What he looked like when he was working with the electricity and the pole, he was like in a workforce where he was outside. He was so proud of his hair when he left. And an accident at work happens and it breaks him down emotionally and mentally. And in the end, he dies. He became nobody from being that somebody, that strong man she fell in love with. And she cries. I'm like, he's here, and he gives a very personal message to her. But what she does, she validates everything. So that was such a beautiful thing. And I give a message to her that changes her life, I believe, because now she understands, and the boy next to her, his son, he will understand that his father will always be around. So the spirit people came back and I was a channeling medium and I gave a message to that woman that makes such a big difference. And also for her son. I don't know if that work accident ever got accepted and it took a toll on him. It took forever, but there was a lot of money, like insurance money, and that was just one big mess. Poor woman, poor boy. They lost him. But he came back, portrayed himself, overshadowing me as that strong man she fell in love with. She totally recognized him, and especially about the skin, the muscles, and the hair, the uniform at work, and his line of job. And she validated everything I talked about. And me standing there, unexperienced channeling medium, I never tried that before. I should have been very fearful. Nobody took me over. I just gave messages, energy to her as energy as well. There was no fear. And in that situation, you could have had your fear triggered. Because that's like a ghost, like you know it from Hollywood and like you know it from movies and documentaries about haunted places, haunted in quotes, places. Demons and all sorts of things could have activated within me from me being primed and being programmed, growing up with the media and everything that has influenced me. But I wasn't fearful. Because when you work with higher realms, when you work with the afterlife, when you work with energy, and you work from a place where you want to be at service to others, the ego expands and then it's not about yourself. That's how we should live. Then we would fulfill the world and not take advantage and destroy the world. We would actually work from a place where everything could be better and merrier, and we could help each other, and we could live in a world with peace and harmony. That's where I worked from as a medium when I gave that message to that woman who lost her husband. Your loved ones are here as well. Remember that. Remember that. So fear, look at it as something is not aligned in your life when you feel fear. And sit back and breathe, raise your vibration. I cannot say it again and again and again and again, but I will. Raise your vibration, breathe in, sit with yourself. Hold on to your vagina, the portal to your higher self. If you're a man, hold on to that place between your genitals and your navel, that place. Hold on to yourself, touch yourself, put pressure. Hold on to your, I'm sorry to say, it sounds weird, but your balls. No, I shouldn't really be sorry to say that, but that's like holding on to your vagina. Hold on to that power station and connect to yourself. Connect to your higher self. So they can teach you to go into microcosmos and let go of fear. So you can actually live from that place where I was standing and giving a message from. That place of inner peace, that place of alignment and balance, that place, that portal where love meets love. That's what it's all about. Where love meets love. So we act from love and we live from love, right? Right? Let's wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.